Thank you for always being willing to just go where the Lord goes in worship, because I definitely don't sit down with a plan. And sometimes it's, you feel like you're just kind of floating out there in never land. And so I have noticed a pattern in my life over I noticed it this year, and it was a pattern that if I look back at the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, it's always about March or April that I start getting a little agitated. I get like agitated in like, I don't want to do the same thing again, and I don't want to, it's like going around the mountain, but I'm like, I don't want, like, it's just like there's like a holy agitation that starts to just dig at me. And sometimes I'm not an enjoyable person to be around during that time. Just ask my wife. However, everyone say but God, right? I remember several years ago, it was May before I realized that something was massively shifting. And I was so fed up with everybody around me that I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. And so I'm grateful that as the years have progressed, that as the agitation starts to set in, I'm like, just pause and look and just like, okay, Lord, what are you saying? What are we doing? And this "what am I doing? What are we doing?" phrase just kind of keeps coming to me with me and the Lord is, what are we doing? What are we doing? Lord, what are we doing? Can anybody relate? Anybody relate? What are we doing? And you're like, okay, I got this vision, I got this prophecy, I got this word, I got this direction. Okay, here we go. We're going. And then you get to a point and it's like, hey, Lord, where are you at? What are we doing? And this is this space that I've been in the last 2 months has been, what are we doing? The world is a crapshoot. What are we doing? Some people's lives in our world are in complete disarray. What are we doing? Lori, where's she at? I'll wait till she gets back. There's an ending runway. Runway is ending on several different things that we're all working on, but whatever it was supposed to manifest hasn't manifest, but you're like, the runway is ending. Are we going to get this thing up in the air? What are we doing? And over the last 2 months, I can even feel the body of Christ as a whole, the weariness, and tired. What are we doing? And I don't know if the weight that I'm feeling is like this full body of Christ thing, or a regional thing, or whatever. What are we doing? And I'm looking to the Lord. What are we doing? What are we doing? And so, Lori, a couple of weeks ago, you said something. It wasn't even like the main word that you were saying. It was just something in passing, in the midst of it. But you stood up here and you said that you will still be eating off the harvest of the past when the next harvest comes in. And I'm telling you what, it set me free with something that I was dealing with that week, which is the harvest of the past has a runway that's ending. And the things that were supposed to be accomplished, I thought, were supposed to be accomplished with that runway, hasn't happened yet. And I'm in the place of, what are we doing? And I didn't plan on opening like this, but here we are. I had breakfast with a friend and a mentor, and I just shared some real just stuff. Like this is. I woke up one day and this is where I'm at. This is what's happening, and this is the fear that's coming in. This is the piece. And this mentor of mine is typically very doesn't really look at the negative, always very positive, always like you can't focus on that stuff and all this kind of stuff. And he did a hybrid maneuver with it that I know is the Lord, because I've known this guy for 20 years. And he said, you are in between what God has called you to do and the faith that you have now. You are standing in between what God called you to do, juxtaposed to the faith. And of course, faith is the evidence, or faith is the evidence of the unseen. I think I just butchered that verse. I apologize. You guys understand. Okay. All right. I'm pretty sure I had that memorized somewhere in here. But And I walked away from that. I'm like, okay. And what he said was, you have to realize that God has already done this. He has already done it. He gave you the vision. He gave you the word. He already accomplished it. And the last several weeks, I've been looking at how I pray, how other people pray. And when I'm listening to myself and I'm listening to others around me, it is not from an already done point of view. It is from a, Lord, I really hope that this happens. Is that? And he's shifting us, me specifically, but he's shifting me into this is already done, and you must speak from that perspective. This is already accomplished. This is already healed. The vision has already come to pass. The prophetic word is already in motion. Align your words and your heart with that which is already done. I know, he's so good, isn't he? And so there's been a couple of things over the last several months that the Lord has just kind of started to make me a little agitated about. And so we're going to take a little journey through a couple of points. And the Lord, in his amazingness, will wrap it all up in a bow. Okay? And if he doesn't, there'll be 3 little mini messages. Okay? But when Mom asked me what the sermon title was, I'm like, oh, I hate doing this stuff. I hate making it a title. And anyway, so I'm like, Lord, what it is? He's like, it's already shifted. It's not going to shift. It's not a coming shift. It's not the shift in the earth. It's not something that is out here. I think in the charismatic prophetic space, we're very like, we don't want to get it wrong. So we're saying, it's coming. You'll see it on the horizon. It's a cloud the size of a man's hand. Okay? But the Lord is standing here today. He's saying, it has already shifted, and you must become aligned with the movement of God that is happening now. All right. So I started to go down this a little bit in worship about the noise. And that's the first thing. Lord brought me to 1 Kings 19, 11 through 13. Elijah, good old Elijah. He has had massive experience with God. He has called down fire. He has called down water. He has called down all these things. And he is having a little pity party for himself. Everyone know that story, right? Okay. So the Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountains apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. When Elijah heard it, he pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Then a voice said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And what's amazing after that, after he had his little meltdown, Elijah did, God's like, "Go anoint this person, go commission this person, go find Elisha. Let's go." Right? And I love the human nature that the Bible gives us a glimpse into with Elijah, who's incredibly gifted by the Lord. He's a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord's power has shone through him. And something happens. I think Jezebel, right? Jezebel happens. And it sends him from the mount through the mountains running, and he went straight to the end. He spun so fast that he went straight to the very end of the story, and he was dead. That was something else that Isabel was talking about today, is that we as humans are very global in our thinking. And so something happens and we immediately spiral to the very worst of the worst of the worst thing that could happen. And anybody? Yes. We spiral all the way down to that moment. And she goes, "That is why the Lord tells you day to day, daily bread." I can relate because this happened to me in February. And it was 2 weeks of me spiraling to the end. We're done. We're done for. This is it. Bankruptcy. 2 months later, I'm still standing here, not bankrupt. And what I thought was what looked like a 2-week runway turned into a couple years runway. And so I'm like, okay, all right, I'm good. We're good. But the point is that the Lord uses us, the Lord gives us vision, the Lord gives us decrees, he gives us a direction. We start walking that out in the knowledge that we have today, by the way. And that's where he has to recalibrate us along the way. And sometimes I think he allows spinning moments to just kind of occur. Not that he brings those to you, don't get me wrong. But the glory of God and the goodness of God is that he uses those moments for your good, for his good, and for the good of the vision and the prophetic word that he's put in your life. So the noise is so noisy. It's so noisy. I'm looking at the media. I'm like, stop yelling at me. I'm looking at my friends. Stop yelling at me. I'm looking at loved ones. Stop yelling at me. I don't think they're yelling. It just feels like they're yelling. And to me, it's noise. And it's something that I'm like, Lord, what? I'm not a quiet individual, really. And my family is not quiet people. But all of a sudden, I just be quiet. I just want it quiet. I want it quiet. In my car, there's no music playing. In my office, there's nothing playing. I just want it quiet. Because something was shifting, is shifting, has shifted. And so now we get to go discover what that is. Psalms 46:10. Surrender your anxiety, be still and realize that I am God. I am God above all the nations, and I am exalted throughout the earth. Be still and know. What I also find so interesting about this scripture in 1 Kings is the wind came, the earthquake came, the fire came, which at times the Lord is absolutely in. He was in the fire that Elijah just called down, right? But that doesn't mean that every single time the fire comes and every single time the wind blows and every single time there's earthquakes, that it's the Lord. And I think that that is where we, as a prophetic, revelatory type people, can get sucked into all the noise that's going on around us, and we miss or can miss the gentle whisper of the Lord. And when that gentle whisper comes, the Lord's like, what are you doing here? I thought you told me to go over here. I thought we were on a mission, Lord. We're on an assignment. Okay, let me realign you and let me get you squared away. Okay, go do this, go do this, go do this. Oh, okay, let's go. And oh, by the way, here's some encouragement. Here's some attaboys, attagirls. Let's go. And what I love about the Lord is when he finds us in our space, in our spinning moment, and he asks you, what are you doing here? It's not an accusation from him. It's not you did a bad thing and you did something wrong. It's, I imagine like that question to Elijah, I can imagine it that God's like, hey, what are you doing here? I missed you. Where you been? And I have to internalize that for my own personal life, is because God's not waiting to get to me to where I've gone left when I should have gone right, or I veered off a path or something like that, just to be this, what are you doing here, you idiot? He is a friend, he is a father, he is a comforter, looking for his child, looking for the one that he loves, looking for the one that he has set in motion, and he's curious. What are you doing here? And so part of aligning with what God is doing today is learning to ignore what he's not saying. Because I would imagine that if we all took a little stock of our lives and what we think we're doing for the Lord, there's a couple of things that he's not saying that we are convinced that he did. And so the invitation there is just to take stock. I can't tell you those things, right? That is completely out of your relationship with the Lord. It's completely out of where you are at with him. And so I just leave that sitting with you. And so the shift that I believe that has already happened, the shift that we're in, is going to require a little bit of a different discipline in this season, is a quieter one. And I don't know how that plays out, and it's going to be individual in our lives. There's that micro, meso, macro perspective, right? It's going to apply macro in a way, the Kingdom Rain, a macro in the way of our city and our nation. But this shift is going to really require us to tune out the noise and to listen very, very intently for the gentle whisper. Now, what I don't want to happen is the enemy gets you spun up on, are you being quiet? Are you being quiet yet? Are you being quiet? Can you hear the Lord? I bet you can't hear the Lord. Because I promise you that happens too. You are in a mature relationship with the Lord. You will hear the gentle whisper of him because he said so. The other thing that the Lord, I was starting to get a little agitated about was, and this is the space that we exist in a prophetic apostolic place, which is lots of revelation, lots of decrees, lots of and then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. We're going to take our place, and we're going to do this, this, and this, and then the Lord's going to do this, and then amazing things are going to happen, right? And we get all excited about that, and then we go home. Because all these amazing things that are going to happen are in a macro space of where we're decreeing, which is amazing. We should pray for our nation. We should pray for Israel. We should pray for our cities. We should pray. We should pray and decree over these things. But there was a moment that when the Iran-Israel thing, all of that was just kind of starting up, and Iran, the first couple of bombings in Iran, and I was listening to this internally, and I was kind of having a little pity party for myself too. But I'm like, it doesn't get easier for us as the world goes on. So this space on this macro level that somehow the Christians are going to take over and we're going to take our space or our place, I'm like, is that actually true? And so I had to reset myself a little bit. And the thought that the Lord gave, I'm going to come back to this, so don't go away. Don't call me a blasphemer, okay? In that moment, I'm like, the only thing that I have responsibility and authority over is what is in my hand. When I look at my micro world, what is in my hand that the Lord has given me responsibility for? And for me, that's my family, my children, my businesses, the vision that the Lord's given me that I'm walking out. And that's and in the midst of it, the vision that the Lord has given me is this macro thing that I've been running after for a year, trying to get it all set in place. And even in the midst of the macro piece, there's little things that are actually in my hand now. And so I need to be responsible to steward that which is in my hand. That is our assignment. What is in our hand? I think that we can get a little bit off track. I know that I have in the micro stuff. Seems a little uncontrolled. I can't control it. There's something in it that just seems out of whack or out of order. And so I'll turn my energy and focus into a macro space and try to control that. But then that really goes nowhere, because the authority that I actually have is in this micro space. And because I thought it was out of order for a moment, I went somewhere else to see what I could put in order. Is this making any sense at all? good. And so I think that I believe that we're in a season where there are these macro things that we are interceding for as the ecclesia, as a government body, as these places. But I cannot control anything that is happening in that macro space. But think of the energy and the energy that we use as humans and the burden that we even feel about the macro space that we literally have no control over. That is God's, and that is the principalities. Let the principalities do their thing, and you come down to your micro space and you say, all right. What this looks like for me, just so that you know, I believe that the Lord has put this huge vision into me for food security. That indoor farms and indoor growing is going to, I don't have time to go into all of this, so this is the abridged version. And so I'm researching indoor and commercial farms and how to grow hydroponically and how to grow aquaponically and how do you channel sunlight and how do you, I'm studying all these macro things. Do you know how much money that costs? Money that I don't have. Okay? And so I'm like this. So, what did I do? Finally, you know what? I should probably learn how to grow food in my house before I go try to spend millions of dollars and do it somewhere else. So I have this little 30-plant hydroponic tower garden sitting in my kitchen that's growing cucumbers and tomatoes and cilantro and thyme and lettuce, all kinds of lettuces. And I got a little sunflower in there because we had to have the sunflower. And, oh, you have it. Look at here. It is. Mandy harvested before we came to church. This is lettuce. Oh, what? Okay, I'm missing something. So it's all kinds, green bok choy, it's some kind of Tokyo lettuce, it's spinach, something called red sorrel. Anyway, so learning how to do this on a micro space, because that tower garden was $500 and I could do that and learn how to do it and steward what was in my hand. Okay? So there's so many times that the Lord's given us macro vision or macro things that we believe that we're supposed to be doing, but because the money, the resources, the time, all that kind of stuff's not lining up, we discount it, we put it out that it's not attainable. Instead of looking at something really small within my budget, within my space, within my, what can I do right now that stewards a little part of that vision so that I can prove faithful with small, so that then he will give me much. I believe the body of Christ has missed this in a major, major way. And that is why we have a lot of people that have had visions for 30 to 40 years plus, and it hasn't come to pass because I didn't drill it down into something that I could do today with the vision that I was given. Exodus 4, 1 through 4. So Moses is at the burning bush. Moses answered, he's been given a vision, right? Go deliver my people from the Egyptians, all of them. Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me? Then the Lord said to him, "What is that in your hand?" "A staff," he replied. And the Lord said, "Throw it on the ground." Moses threw it on the ground. It became a snake, and he ran from it. I love looking at the little, this is going to be the word that I make up. Idiosyncrasies, thank you very much. Idiosyncrasies of the human nature in the midst of all these stories that we all know. His staff, what do you have in your hand? "Oh, it's my staff, yeah." "Throw it on the ground." He threw it on the ground, becomes a snake, and Moses freaks out, right? I mean, how many times have we started to do something and the Lord's like, "Go do this," and you're like, "Great." And you're like, what can I do today? And you go do it, and then something happens, and you run for the hills because it didn't turn out the way that I thought. I didn't know what was going to happen with that staff when I threw it on the ground, but the snake was not what I was quite thinking. So then the Lord said to him, "Reach out your hand and take it by the tail." Let me tell you again how to handle this, Moses. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into the staff in his hand. And so Moses is in the burning bush. Like, he's standing in the midst of a great miracle, and he's questioning God, and he's making a bunch of excuses about this big assignment that the Lord's giving to him. And he's like, "Little old me, what am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to do with this? And how's the snake going to do it?" I'm constantly learning, be faithful with small and I'll give you much. Every season that I've gone through, every trip around the mountain, every level that the Lord takes me is a new opportunity to learn, be faithful with little and I'll give you much. And it is in all of that, in this season, that I'm like, okay, I've seen the vision of the round table of us all talking about crises and how we're gonna manage those crises and how we're going to help the needy. And I've seen how I really can't go into this, but if I told you since July, when the Lord gave me this vision, to today, weekly, there is a connection piece. And somehow I'm in the very middle of it. And leading into the end of last year, I was literally trying to strong arm all the pieces together of like, this is happening, let's go. Time is of the essence. And then just like over December, January, I'm like, if you want it to happen, Lord, you make it happen. And of course, that's the moment where there's like, okay, thanks. But even this last week, I went to Oklahoma City for a meeting that I was something else, ran into somebody else that says something that totally aligns with what the God's putting together. And I've done that enough that I know at some point the Lord is going to magnetize it, all the pieces that are out here just seemingly like you can tell they're connected, but you don't know how they're connected. And so at some point, something's going to happen. It's going to magnetize. They're all going to come together. And then I'm going to be like, oh. We've all experienced that, right, in our life? And then we all forget about it the next time it rolls around. So we have to understand that the authority in the big thing, the authority in the macro thing, the authority for this place grows out of our stewardship of the authority that we have in our hand today. And so my invitation to all of us is, let's take stock of what's in our hand today that I have authority over, and what am I doing with that? Do I think it's insignificant? Do I think it's little compared to what I think it should be? Do I go down that questions, because I believe it'll illuminate where you can start again in the midst of what we're doing. It is our faithfulness in the micro spaces that gives our influence more influence when it's time to speak into the macro. I don't know how this food security thing is gonna come together, but if I just went out and started to attempt to raise money from government and public and private sectors, having never learned to grow food, do you think I would get any of that money? No. And so so the Lord is saying, hydroponic garden, great, get that. Huh? Oh, the bread, fresh milled flour bread, amazing. I make our own bread now. I mill it. I mill the wheat berries, and people that know me are laughing because that's not me. You know, well, and I got the garden last year. Mandy has told me that for Mother's Day, all she wants is the flowers. Remember the flowers I talked about last year? Yeah, we're gonna have flowers on our front area again. So start with this this hydroponic garden. Well, then I get introduced to a guy that has a community center in Northwest Tulsa, and he's got a big like container grow pod in the back that grows all the lettuce for the community center. Then, through my banker, I get introduced to a guy that builds indoor farms and can grow 4,300 plants in a 20 by 20 box room. 4,300 plants, vertical farming. And then I'm in a meeting with an attorney about setting up nonprofits for this food security thing, and she's connected to all the Christian NFL players. So it is, God, you gave me this big vision. You gave me this big thing. You gave me this thing that I'm going to run after. However, I needed to start with the little 30-plant hydroponic garden. And then the connections continue to roll because you're faithful with little and he gives you much. And so there's a space where this assignment piece is we have authority with what's in our hands. And so we do need to take stock. What are we trying to control, or what are we trying to do out here in a macro space? Don't abandon it, but how much energy are you spending out here, and how much burden are you carrying when the micro space needs your attention? The other thing, and I know we've said this, I think in the last couple of years, but there is, I can feel that the church, like the church space is shifting like big time. And when I'm looking at, well, I'm just going to be transparent. I'm done with a show. I'm done with smoke and mirrors. I'm done with the lights and no, we don't really have that. But I'm done with it. And there's even spaces that I would say that Kingdom Rain needs to look at of what is shifting. And what the Lord is saying to me is there is a true back to basics happening. There is a true and genuine back to basics. I will tell you that the churches that are growing right now are Catholicism, Orthodox, Anglican, thank you. Those are the churches, specifically in Tulsa, that are growing right now because of the foundational structure that's in place that gives order. Now, we can all go down why each one of those is not where we want to end up, right? But I think it's amazing that probably 1 out of every 4 people that I'm talking to right now are talking about the Catholic Church. I've got one guy that's converting to Catholicism, and he's like, and I'm spirit-filled, but like this makes the most sense. And I'm like, way to go, buddy. But there is some, so to not get wrapped up in, because I'm not saying go convert to a Catholic. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't hear that. What I'm saying is that there's a pattern. And what's the pattern? The pattern is order and structure, which means that the ethereal, the mysticism, this space where we're not grounded in something is taken a major hit, and for good reason. Because I also believe that in the season ahead, whatever this season is, the season ahead, we are going to have to be so grounded in the basics and the structure and the order of God that is going to, like, we need to shift now so that we are prepared. And when the move of God happens and the bowls tip and the Spirit of God falls on humanity, and we have a bunch of new Christians that have had an encounter with Jesus, they are going to need that structure. They're going to need that order, not in a legalism way. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But God is a God of order. He's a God of structure. And these new baby believers, all of these people, there is no foundation for Christianity in our society anymore for them to lock into. And so when they walk into churches, they're going to have to see the order of God in motion and in practice so that they can become discipled in how God functions. And so even in the midst of the prophetic and the apostolic, we have to take a look again. We have to see where have we gotten off base? Where have we allowed the structure to weeble and wobble? And really take a hard count and some stock of that. Because the move is already here. The shift has already happened. And so these are I believe, the last pieces that are really clicking into place over the next 5 years or so. Philippians 3, 8 through 10. There was a space last February around, it was before we moved into this building, that we were in a meeting, and I'm like, I just want Jesus. That's all I want. I just want Jesus. I just want his presence, and I want his person, and I want who he is. I want to know him. I want to worship him. And I'm coming around in this period too, and I'm like, yeah, again, all I want is Jesus. All I want is to know him. All I want is to worship him. I don't want to come with an agenda. I don't want to come with my wants and my needs. I want to discipline myself that when I get into the presence of God, which is all the time, by the way, that I am praying without ceasing, and I'm always worshiping him, gratitude, grateful for what he's done in my life. Philippians 3:8-10. To truly know him meant letting go of everything from my past and throwing all my boasting on the garbage heap. This is the Passion Translation. It's all like a pile of manure to me now, so that I may be enriched in the reality of knowing Jesus Christ and embrace him as Lord in all of his greatness. My passion is to be consumed with him and not cling to my own righteousness, my own righteousness based in keeping the written law. My only righteousness will be his, based on the faithfulness of Jesus Christ, the very righteousness that comes from God. And I continually long to know the wonders of Jesus and to experience the overflowing power of his resurrection working in me. All this other stuff is not important than to know Christ. And so in this season, this structure and order, this basics, even if we are a 40-year Christian believer, we are going to know Christ in a whole new way. And I'm excited for it. And the last thing the Lord told me to do was encourage you all. Because the shift in you has already happened as well. The shift in your personal life, the shift in your family, the shift in the prophetic word has already happened. And so Colossians 1:13, he has rescued us completely from the tyrannical rule of darkness and has translated us into the kingdom realm of his beloved Son. God treasures us. His greatest treasure on earth is people. And it was his goodness that delivered us from this because he treasured people. You look through the entire Bible and all the monetary tests that are in the Bible are a test of the Lord to see if you can steward his greatest possession, which is people. He did this for us. Ephesians 2:10. We have become his poetry, a recreated people that will fulfill the destiny he has given each of us. For we are joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. Even before we were born, God planned in advance our destiny and the good works we would do to fulfill it. We are not his ongoing project. We're not broken. He says that we are his poetry. Does anybody like poetry? Yeah? You know what that makes you feel when you read poetry. I can't read poetry. I'm like, what are we talking about here? So, do what? The Psalms, absolutely. He crafted us with amazing intention. He crafted you. He crafted your brain. He crafted your skills. He crafted your hopes and dreams. He crafted who you are. He crafted every single piece of you with intention so that you would be his poetry on the earth. I mean, how amazing is that? It's to drown out the noise and to be quiet for just a minute, to come to that realization that in everything, all he wanted was a family. All he wanted. Zephaniah 3:17. Yahweh, your God, is inside you. He is the warrior savior who takes such delight in you that it will make him leap for joy and shout with gladness. Yes, he will soothe you with his love. Because we are a performance-based society, And a lot of people have performance-based value systems, which is not how God looks at us. And I am a walking example that if God looked at my performance and God looked at those things, I'm not going to heaven. But he doesn't look at it like that. He's not looking for your performance. He has created you. He has put you here. He is leaping for joy over you and over your vision and over the things that you do. Leaping for joy. And even when he found Elijah in the mountains and say, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing here? Hey, buddy. Right? Can you just see him bounding in, leaping for joy? Hey, missed you, buddy. Where you at? Let's go. And that's what he's saying to us even now today is there's work to do. My movement is here. It is here. I'm leaping for joy over you. I'm leaping for joy. You are my poetry. You are my song on the earth. This is who you are. This is who you are. This is who I am. This is how he sees us. Last one, Psalms 149, 3-4. Break forth with dancing, make music, and sing God's praises with the rhythm of drums, for he enjoys his faithful lovers. He adorns the humble with his beauty, and he loves to give them victory. He loves to give you victory. Speaking of victory, it has already happened. And I know that we can all talk about the journey that we're in the middle of, or the victory that we haven't had. But the invitation of the Lord is step into the perspective that it is already done. The victory is there, and you are his victory.